Hi wrestling fans, thanks for clicking on the Reddity Rose Report. Here we go with another one of these things. Former WWE Women's Champion Chyna, remember her? I think they ought to bring her back. You know, maybe Stephanie don't want her to come back with the Triple H deal. But anyway, she's landed a role, and I don't know who did the casting on this, as a defense attorney in an independent film called Code of Death. Filming begins in the spring. Can't see her playing an attorney, but maybe on the other end. The term Vicky is a trending worldwide topic last night during Raw. I can't. Anyway, former WWE diva Savannah is accepting appearance bookings and inquiries via Angela Fong direct at gmail.com if you want to get a hold of her. Former WWE star X-Pac Sean Waltman, he commented on last night's Raw with Michael Cole's heelish persona isn't really an act, he says. Cole was such a whiny, smug, aloft person when I was there, he wrote on his Twitter. He said, I can only imagine how he is now. Advertised for Sunday's Raw live event in Madison Square Garden, and I think, I don't know whether this is taped or not. Didn't see what day it was, but anyway, I'd like to see this. The Miz versus John Cena versus Randy Orton versus Wade Barrett in a four-way cage match for the WWE Championship. Roddy Piper, Piper's Pit, is going to have a special guest of Sergeant Slaughter. Michael Cole, he's going to be appearing to deliver special messages from the Raw General Manager. Isn't that unique? 12-man Battle Royal, by the way. Daniel Bryant, he defends the U.S. Championship against the winner of the Battle Royal. John Morrison versus King Sheamus for a New York street fight. Melina and Eve take on Alicia Fox and Maurice in a Santa's Little Helper match. David Hart Smith and Tyson Kidd, they take on each other. Santino Marella and Kozlov takes on Nexus for the WWE Tag Titles. Bellas appear as hosts. Casting call for Tough Enough revival on USA Network will begin shortly after New Year's Eve, so get your shit together and put in for getting on there if you can. I think they're still taking not green people, just independent wrestlers. WWE returns to the XL Center in Hartford, Connecticut on March 18th. Ooh, going to start getting warmer in March, probably, or windy, for a Raw live event. Tickets go on sale January 14th, noon. Today's Raw Superstars Primo's birthday. He turns 28 years old. Radio advertisement for February 5th SmackDown live event in Toronto, Ontario is advertising Nexus versus Big Show in a 3-on-1 handicap match. Lance Hoyt, or Lance Archer, who was released by the World Wrestling Entertainment November 19th alongside Luke Gallows, Tiffany, Kalen Croft, Julian Hall, and Shad Gaspar, feels that the company made a mistake by cutting him loose. For me, it was a budgetary decision. That was what I told, that's what I was told, he said. He said, obviously it disappointed me and felt that WWE's made a mistake. They dropped the ball by releasing me. My only regret is I didn't push the right people harder for more. Told Slam Wrestling that, not me. WWE Developmental Territory Florida Championship Wrestling is going to be in Port Charlotte, Florida, it looks like, at the Port Charlotte Fairground Expo Hall, Friday, January 14th. Free FCW calendars will be given out to the first 300 fans. FCW is going to be giving out 300 more free calendars to fans the next night, January 15th. Live event, Spring Hills, Florida, at the Brooksville Armory. And by the way, WWE has moved Ezekiel Jackson to the SmackDown roster page and Josh Matthews to the SmackDown page. WWE star Evan Bourne, which I think is, I hope they, when he comes back, they really use him. He'd make a good champion, I would think. Represent wrestling, you know, really good, and just, I don't know, just good persona. Give wrestling a good eye. Anyway, he's going to be appearing at FCW live event Friday, January 21st in DeLand, Florida. And of course, he's out on injured he was injured, and I guess he's getting ready to get the ring rust off of him down in FCW. WWE is going to be will tape tonight's NXT in just a few hours, and tonight's SmackDown is going to be live from the AT&T Center, San Antonio, Texas. SmackDown is airing 9 on the USA, featuring The Miz, Randy Orton in a non-title match, and John Cena and Dolph Ziggler and Vicky, pardon me, in a handicap match. That should be funny. Pardon me. Tonight's NXT begins an hour later than usual. It's going to be, if you go to the WWE website to catch it, due to the live SmackDown broadcast, because they can't seem to do 2 live events at the same time, at the same place. Hang on a second. All right, let's continue this. Melina wrote on her Twitter last night after turning heel. She became the #1 contender, by the way. She says, hee. I love you guys, and it's time for a change, so now it's on in the women's division. Hope everyone's ready for a ride. And for what it's worth, Triple H was advertised for several upcoming WWE Raw telecasts. This might not mean much because he was advertised for last night's Raw, but obviously he didn't show up. Match has been announced for the SmackDown on USA. So far, the only matches they had advertised for the next hour or so. John Cena taking on Dolph Ziggler with Vicky Guerrero in a handicap match. The Miz and Randy Orton in a non-title match. Oh, by the way, December 17th episode of SmackDown scored a, looks like 1.76 cable rating. About a little over 2.5 million viewers, and it was down a little, just 1/10 of a point. Last week was 1.77. John Cena and John Morrison facing the Miz and Sheamus in a dark match followed Raw Monday telecast. Cena hit the attitude adjustment on Sheamus. Morrison hit the Starship Pain on the Miz. Referee counted simultaneously both of them for the win. Dark match before Raw that we didn't get to see. Percy Watson defeat Primo Colon. Match is taped before Raw this week for Superstars. Zack Ryder versus David Hart Smith, and Usos versus Primo, Darren Young. Melina is, like I said, #1 contender to Natalia for the Diva title after she defeated Alicia Fox, Eve Torres in a 3-way on last night's Raw. Which who loves a 3-way? Melina turned heel after the match, slapped Natalia. That scared me. Alright, the top 25 matches of 2010 is being released by WWE.com. They are currently asking fans to vote on a tiebreaker between Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 26, and Daniel Bryan versus Dolph Ziggler at Bragging Rights. Anyway, former WWE star and TNA star Shelly Martinez has relaunched a website that you can visit at, believe it or not, it's called ShellyMartinez.org. Former, I hate to say this about a knockout, but former, describing her as a knockout ODB. She's going to be a guest on a live wrestling news live tonight. That's SundayNightShowdown.com following the Monday Night Raw. Anyway, they're talking about when she retired, about her rumors retiring from wrestling and stuff. Former Cruiserweight champion and Tag Team champion Paul London pulled no punches in a lengthy interview published by Power Slam magazine when he, rather than Power Slam, as he was candidly discussing a 5-year run with WWE, which he calls entertainers, and an array of characters which is out there, in that place anyway. He said regarding a return to the organization that ultimately did not live up to his expectations, he said, wouldn't go back there for all the money in the world. Bullsh. He says, I would think it should be called take a squat for WWE instead of stand up for WWE. He says, I wouldn't go back there for a gazillion dollars. Are you kidding me? Must be. Alright, he says it's a nasty place and all that crap, so he must be mad. Hey, thank you guys for clicking. Anybody you know want some wrestling news, tell them to click on this. Subscribe. I gotta go.